Good? All right. Yeah. Awesome. Once again, it is an honor to be up here, and I'm here to talk to you all today about the history of work. So, I'd like to start off with a question. And my question to you is, how old were you whenever you worked your first job, and what was it? So I'm going to start with Mustafa and have him share a little bit about his first work experience.
مستر مارتي بيرحب بيكم وحابب يوجه لكم سؤال، وهيبدأ السؤال ده بيا أنا شخصيا. بيقول كان عمركم قد إيه لما بدأتوا أول شغلانة؟ أول شغلانة بالنسبة لي كان عندي 14 سنة وكنت ميديا تيم كوردينيتور، نظرا لأن أنا كنت بحب التصوير وبحب شغل الميديا جدا. I was a media team coordinator when I was 14 years old.
Did you like the job?
Of course, because I had a lot of passion towards photography and media.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, for myself, whenever I was a child, one of the first things that I ever became interested in were dinosaurs. I loved dinosaurs. I loved reading about dinosaurs. I had dinosaur posters on my wall. I just thought they were the coolest thing ever. And for myself, I then kind of realized, I think I want to know what I want to do whenever I grow up. I wanted to be an anthropologist. I wanted to go and I wanted to look for dinosaur bones because for me, I was so interested. I was really young, probably about 5 or 6 years old. And I remember going and telling my aunt, Auntie, I know what I want to be whenever I grow up. And she kind of looked at me curiously and said, okay, mijo, what is that? Mijo is a term of endearment in Spanish. It means young child. And I told her, Auntie, I really want to be an anthropologist. And she looked at me and she said, well, you're going to have to find another job because they've already found all the dinosaur bones. And I was devastated. I was like, oh no, it was the one thing that I was really interested in. And my aunt told me I couldn't do that. Within our lives, whenever we share what we're interested in, we have people that might be well-meaning, but ultimately they can kill our dreams. They can tell us, no, that's not an option. Why are you doing this? Why can't you do something else? So Ibrahim on the panel had mentioned whenever he went into his industry, a lot of people were telling him, don't do it. Everybody in our lives has had an experience. To my knowledge, most humans that I've talked to, this has been a very typical response. They want to do something, and then parents, family members, friends will tell them, no, that's not an option. You need to find something else. And it can be very discouraging because it can make us move away from what it is that we really want to do, and our interests aren't being met. So, whenever I spoke yesterday, I talked about the power of human connection. What I would like for you to do now is, for the next 2 to 3 minutes, I would like you in the audience to find somebody that you don't know very well, and I want you to share with each other, 1, what was the first job that you had? 2, how old were you? And 3, what did that job teach you about what you want to do now?
مستر مارتي بيطلب منكم اكتيفيتي صغير كده، طالب من كل واحد في حضراتكم ان هو يشوف اقرب حد ليه يكون قاعد جنبه، يعني يكون ما يعرفوش خالص، وعايزه يساله 3 اسئله. السؤال الاول، ايه هي اول شغلانه انت اشتغلتها؟ السؤال الثاني، كان عمرك قد ايه؟ والسؤال الثالث، ايه اهم حاجه الشغلانه دي علمتها لك؟ معاكم دقيقتين 3 علشان نمارس الاكتيفيتي ده، اتفضلوا.
See, and I love this. Like, whenever people sort of talk to each other and interact, that's oh my gosh, love it.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
My name is Hadi Abdullah and I'm a student. Yeah, anyone ask me?
Yeah. So thank you very much for coming up and introducing yourself. So my question for you, how old were you when you worked your first job?
Yeah, first of all, I'm 23 years old.
23 years old. Excellent. And what job was it?
That's great. Okay, I work in a lot of jobs, but first of all, I work as a programmer.
As a programmer. Nice. Did you like it?
Yeah, I like it so much.
Nice. And what did that job teach you about what you want to do? Or what did you learn from that job?
I learned to develop, I work as a back-end developer. Yeah, back-end developer to build a new system, and sometimes I work as a data collections in some applications. Yeah, this is what I mean by life. Every time I work parallel to double things, this is my routine, my daily routines. Every time I wake up so early to do a lot of things in the morning.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for sharing. And can we give him a hand? Okay, so I'm curious. Would anybody like to share again? What was your first job? And quick, you get yelled it out. You don't have to get up here on stage.
حد تاني حابب يجاوب؟
Selling candy. And what's your name? Sharif. Sharif, how old were you? 13. Okay, so I'm curious. Oh, 30. 30. Okay. So, Mustafa, you were 14. And then you'd like to share.
My name is Murad Abdelaziz 45 سنة. أول شغلانة اشتغلتها كانت مجال الأحذية، صناعة الأحذية.
His first job was a shoemaker.
مهنة والدي في عمر 12 سنة.
It's his father's job and he started working with him when he was 12.
نظرا لوفاة الوالد علمتني الجلد والصلابة وإن أنا أبقى راجل، وبعدها طورت من نفسي. حاليا دلوقتي أنا تريننج مع المستر وياسر مهني معانا.
And since his father died, he learned to be disciplined, he learned how to work harder, and then he developed himself until he is an instructor with us today.
Wow, that's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. شكرا.
All right. So we've heard some really great stories. Work is important. We will have to work as humans. We have to work to pay the bills. We have to work to support our family, to support ourselves. So work isn't going away. For myself, after my aunt told me, no, you can't be an anthropologist, I kind of floated as a child, which I have to give myself grace. I was a kid. I didn't know everything about the world of work. But my grandpa, so my family, myself, I am second generation American. So what that means is that my grandfather immigrated to the United States from Mexico. I currently live in New Mexico, not Old Mexico, but New Mexico. And so whenever my grandpa came over, he worked as a farm laborer, meaning he didn't own the farm. He was the person that worked on the farm. And it was hard work, hours out in the sun, in southern New Mexico where it is very hot. Not as hot as it is here, but it's still pretty hot. And so whenever I was 12 years old, my grandpa told me, "Mijo, you need to get your education." And I kind of looked at him like, "All right, Grandpa, that sounds great, whatever." And my grandpa knew he doesn't understand because my grandpa worked physically his whole life. It took a toll on his body, and he didn't want that same path for me. So whenever I was 12 years old, my grandpa put me to work in the fields as a farm laborer. So my job was to go and to chop the weeds among the cotton plants, to clean ditches, to irrigate, the really hard manual labor. I learned from a very young age that is not what I want to do at all. It's hot, this sucks, yes, I'm going to get my education. So my grandpa planted the seed for me to go to college, to get my bachelor's, to get my master's, and ultimately where I'm at now. So not only do we have dream killers within our life, we also have people who can inspire hope. This is what we do as career professionals. We help instill hope in others. Whenever work seems tedious, whenever people can't find meaning in what it is that they're doing, we can work with them so they can find that meaning in order to live a fulfilling life. So, now, before we get into the future of work, I think it's really important to talk about the history of work. And a question that has always been fascinating to me is, when did humanity actually start? So as a species, as humans, when did we actually start becoming human? An idea that I really like is they found a fossilized skeleton that was ancient, but what they saw in the skeleton is that the person broke their leg, and the tribe that the person was in tried to mend it. And I kind of think that's when humanity started. When we realized the value of who we were, and if you got injured, if you got sick, you weren't left behind, we tried to help. So humans, we're interesting. We take a very long time to evolve. 200,000 years ago is when the first Homo sapiens showed up here in Africa, in Europe, and in Asia. And then about 100,000 years ago, that's when modern humans came on the scene. So, for 90,000 years, humans banded together in small tribes, and this is where hunter-gatherers were at. So, day-to-day life, work was about survival. We had people that hunted animals, we had people that gathered food and supplies, but then there were also other work roles too. We had people that took care of children and took care of the elders. We had people who would stand watch over the town. We had people whose job it was to tend the flame, to make sure that there was always fire available. So the early work roles, we had about 8 as humans. But then, 90,000 years ago, the very first work revolution began. So my question to you, the audience, what was the first work revolution that transformed humanity?
مارتي بيسألكم تفتكروا ايه هي الثورة في سوق العمل اللي غيرت نظرة الإنسان للعمل؟ حد عنده إجابة؟
So humans were originally hunter-gatherers. What was the next phase of work? So what came after hunter-gatherers?
You have an answer? industrial revolution after World War II.
Close. But have you taken a look at my notes? Because I'm getting there. We're going to cover that, but not yet.
حد عنده إجابة تاني؟
أكيد ما سمعتش السؤال.
هو بيقول أنت قريبة من الموضوع بس مش هو ده. He thinks that observing the work before it's done gives us better insight on how we should do it in the first place.
Right, yeah. And humans were watchers. That's what we did. We watch and we learn. And that watching and learning, that curiosity about our environment, led us from being hunters and gatherers into the agricultural revolution. So, the agricultural revolution, humans that watched, that understood, recognized that like, oh, wait a minute, we don't have to continuously move all the time. We can actually settle in a location. Here in Egypt, it's so important because the Nile River Valley is one of the cradles of humanity and civilization. So whenever humans first discovered the Nile, it was plentiful and abundant and ripe with resources. So humans that watched understood, wait a minute, we could just stay here. We can farm. We can fish. We can construct buildings. So all of a sudden, work shifted from survival into civilization. So humans all of a sudden took on different work roles. No longer did we have to go out and hunt. That's when towns, cities, trade routes, all of the most important things that keep humanity alive happened right after that revolution. But there was also a downside to the revolution as well. Work previously was about survival, but humans had time to contemplate. That's where cave paintings came from. Humans were trying to practice different ways to express themselves. This is where language comes into play too. Humans started to develop language. But with farm work, has anybody in here ever worked as a farmer?
حد من هنا اشتغل في الزراعة قبل كده؟ حد اشتغل في مجال الزراعة قبل كده؟
Grandmother, just like my grandpa. Okay, yeah. So, whenever you work on a farm, it's hard. It's tedious work. All of a sudden, to plant crops, you have to till the ground. You have to dig up the soil. It's a lot of labor and it's a lot of effort, and humans kind of got bored with that. So with the agricultural revolution, yes, it gave us the rise of civilization, but what it also did is that it invented human slavery. Before that, slavery wasn't a thing because humans had to work together to survive, but now, because work was boring and it didn't really have meaning, it was pretty easy to be like, we're just going to go take over that group of people and we're going to make them do the hard work. So, there are pros and cons to that. So humans existed in the agricultural revolution up until the 1700s, and that's when the Industrial Revolution kicked off. The Industrial Revolution was started by a gentleman who was of Scottish descent, and he discovered and built the first steam engine. With the rise of steam engine, that transformed the way the world worked. All of a sudden, railroads became a thing. It was easier to transport goods from city to city. Factories started to come up. So we look at work roles, all of a sudden there are so many different choices to choose from. There are people that need to build the machines. There are people that need to maintain the machines. There are people that need to work in the factories. So humans, all of a sudden, we have a lot more choices to do. Now, the downside to the Industrial Revolution was that human rights all of a sudden work became extremely dangerous because it wasn't regulated. Steam engines would blow up, humans were overworked, all for a profit. So there were more opportunities, but work took on a very different meaning for humans too. And you see, from hunter-gatherer to agricultural to industrial, we keep on moving further and further away from what work originally meant to us. Like I said earlier, we as humans, we take a very long time to evolve. And so whenever a new technology comes in, we kind of have a hard time grasping it. So, from the Industrial Revolution, we come into the modern age. Within the modern age, this is the technological, the digital, and the AI revolution. So this is where we're currently at now. But the problem is too, we don't know how to adapt to this new technology. And quite frankly, it can be a little bit scary at times. So currently, as of today, over 80 million jobs have been displaced or replaced due to AI. By the year 2030, that number is going to be over 300 million jobs that are displaced and replaced by this new technology. Well, that leads to quite a dilemma for humans, because all of a sudden, a lot of the work roles that we've gotten used to and accustomed to are now going away, and they're gone. So what do we do as career professionals? And also, a question for the audience, how do you feel, or how about this, what do you think about artificial intelligence? Just a genuine response. Whenever you hear that word, what do you think?
مارتي بيسألكم ايه رأيكم في الارتفيشال انتليجنس او الذكاء الاصطناعي، او ايه اول حاجة بتيجي في دماغكم اول ما تسمعوا كلمة الذكاء الاصطناعي؟
هو الذكاء الاصطناعي مجرد بس تقنية إن هي تساعد البشر أو الإنسان إن هو يستعمل يقلل من المجهود بتاعه ويوصل لأعلى الكفاءة والفعالية، لكن إحنا بنستخدمه بشكل خاطئ. المفروض النسبة الأمثل لتشغيل الذكاء الاصطناعي تبقى 15% من المجهود الكلي اللي بتقوم عليه أي منظمة، لكن إحنا بنستخدمه وبنحاول نعليه ل 25%، وده بيقلل من كفاءته. المفروض إن أنا عامل حاجة علشان أنا اللي أتحكم فيها، مش هي اللي تتحكم فيا. لو انا وسعت دايره النشاط بتاع الذكاء الاصطناعي هلغي دور البشريه، وده هيبقى لنا حياتنا احنا زي ما حضرتك قلت 2080 احنا مش هنبقى موجودين، فده هيبقى ليه تاثير كبير قوي علينا. تمام.
Wow, thank you. And yeah, that is a possibility right now, because we just don't know what this technology is capable of. The worst case scenario is AI takes over. How relevant does humanity become whenever computers can think and interact and do? Then what's our purpose as a species? So yeah, that is definitely a way to look at it. Does anybody else have any thoughts about AI?
حد تاني عنده أي أفكار عن الذكاء الاصطناعي؟
that it's an evolution for the human intelligence, an extension of the human intelligence.
هو ممكن نقول ان هو تطور للذكاء البشري، لان احنا بنستغل الامكانيات اقل من ما كنا بنستغلها في الماضي. يعني ممكن نقول ان هو تحديث كبير للكمبيوتر نفسه كان مرحله من التطور، بقى تحديث اكتر الذكاء الاصطناعي للتفكير البشري.
Okay, great, thank you. So we have two different perspectives right now. We have potentially the end of humanity because of this technology, but then we have hope that maybe this can help build us and take us to the next level. Maybe this technology can help transform our lives in ways that we haven't seen yet. Did you have a comment?
I would say my personal opinion, okay? In Egypt, they doesn't depend on AI, so not all of them know what is AI working for.
Vague area, gotcha, right, okay, thank you for that. So, how many of you in here have smartphones?
مين معاه سمارت فون؟
Everybody in this room right now that has a phone, that has a computer, that has a tablet, we're already using AI. We just might not be aware of it. And this is kind of what's a little bit scary too, because it's a brand new technology that might be unfamiliar, that we don't have an understanding for, but we're already using it. And AI is already, it's everywhere. Whenever you go to Facebook, AI helps generate the posts that you see. The same on Instagram, the same on LinkedIn. AI is constantly learning from us. So this is a technology that is very real, that exists right now, that we're using in ways that we don't understand yet. And some of us are even unaware that we are using AI, but we do. If you're connected to the internet, if you're connected to social media, if you use anything online, AI is a factor. So as humans, this is something that there's no going back from. Oh, do we have something back here? Yeah. Oh, no, okay. This is, are you familiar with the concept of Pandora's box?
حد عنده فكرة عن مصطلح Pandora's box؟
Pandora's box? No. So Pandora's box is a Greek myth, and basically, there was a woman, her name was Pandora, and she was told, here's a box, it's full of all the world's suffering, everything else, you can't open it or everything will escape. And so she was naturally curious, and she opened the box. And the tale goes, that's where disease, blight, plague, unhappiness, sadness, all the woes of humanity originated from that box. But she closed the lid, and the one thing that was saved was hope. So we as humans, hope is so important, and it's so essential for us. We need hope to survive. Like I mentioned before, as career development professionals, that's part of our job, and part of our role is that installation of hope. So whenever we work with our clients and our students and just the people in our lives, how do we navigate this new technology? Especially when a lot of traditional jobs are going away. We're not real sure. This is where we're at right now as career development professionals. A lot of traditional roles, yeah, you know, in the video that was just displayed, a young man shared a story about wanting to become a banker. That's awesome. Yeah, in 10 years, we're definitely still going to have banks. I don't think banks are going anywhere, but not everybody wants to be a banker. So my undergraduate degree was in English, so literature. I love to write, I love to read, I love to create stories. If I had pursued a career path as an author or as somebody who writes for websites, my job has already been replaced. One of my staff members in the office, her job was replaced by AI, and she had to shift direction within her career. So this is the disruption that we're living in right now. We're trying to comprehend what jobs are going to be here next year, in 2 years, in 5 years. We're not sure. We can kind of predict, we can see jobs that are at risk of being taken over by AI, but there's also potential there, and this is where the hope comes too. Every agricultural, industrial, technological revolution generates new jobs. We're in the phase right now where jobs are being replaced, but we've yet to see the bounty. We've yet to see the outcome of what is going on. So having hope that there are going to be jobs is really important. And also, oh, did you have a question back there? Yeah.
Hello. I would like to ask about how to incorporate AI or knowledge about like concepts of programming or using technology in fields that might not integrate or seem to integrate with other job fields, like being a chemist or being in the big industries like petroleum or of such kind.
Right, yeah, and that is a great question, because if you kind of think about like tourism and customer service, it's all about the human connection, right? It's about having somebody to talk to, going up and asking, well, it's not about like, hey, where's a really great place you would suggest to go get some tea, after this. It's nice to have that. But humans are relying more on technology, and it's, to me, I'm thinking, I'm a mental health counselor, right? I do mental health, I do career development. How much is this really going to affect the work that I do? Well, AI is getting very smart. They have AI chat modules that are specific to mental health. So people can type in a response saying, hey, I'm feeling a little bit sad. And it will generate an empathetic response like you're talking to another human. Now, whenever I said humans are slow to evolve, we have a hard time making that distinction, because we need something in the moment, and we're giving validation, we're giving empathy, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, so they don't have to wait to make an appointment with me. They can just go and they can type it into AI and get a response that is kind and caring, and then also a plan going forward. So it's little things like that where, no, like how could that possibly affect it? No, it already is. So customer service, the face-to-face, right? Well, what if whenever you walked into a hotel lobby, there's an AI kiosk with a very happy voice that tells you all the wonderful things about the hotel and all the general recommendations. And oh, do you like fish? You need to check out these restaurants. Oh, okay, you're allergic to dairy or to gluten. Okay, don't go there, go here. So those areas that might be blind right now, there is a possibility that AI could eventually infiltrate that. And that's, as Dr. Brian was talking about yesterday, that's in our blind spot. That's something that we're not anticipating yet. So kind of even thinking like, how in the world could AI even touch this job? This is where we have to start thinking, no, actually, how can it? Because it will eventually. So one of the most amazing things about humans is that we are resilient. In our life, we all have struggles. We have all had a journey just to be where we're at right now. So building up that resiliency is important. That's also the work that we do in career development, but also one of the most fascinating and important traits for humans to have is adaptability. Because we can make plans. We can say, oh yeah, this is what I have going on, this is what life looks like, but life doesn't always follow our plans. And whenever things don't go according to plan, we have to be able to adapt. If the job that you are going for, that you're really interested in, all of a sudden isn't valid for you, we need to be able to move in a new direction. So going back to the story that I shared about me loving dinosaurs, what my aunt told me was, you can never be an anthropologist, but she didn't ask me a question. And that question is, why are you interested in dinosaurs? What is it about them that you find fascinating? So if I look back at young Marty, it's kind of cool. It wasn't necessarily the dinosaurs themselves that I was interested in. It was a story. It was learning. For me, digging around to find bones was actually looking for knowledge, was seeking to find answers. The amazing thing is, even as a kid, those themes of learning, education, discovery, and knowledge, that's still present in the work that I do today. Those themes transcend into mental health counseling, transcend into career counseling, are also present in career development. So with adaptability, our work as career professionals is getting to know the why behind why the people that we're serving want to go into those roles. Because adaptability is taking those themes, taking those interests, and utilizing them in a new setting. Part of what is devastating is whenever those inherent interests, those interests that we first have as a child, we're never given the opportunity to explore them as adults. And that is when work becomes tedious. That's whenever, there's a myth. And like I said before, I'm a storyteller, so I love stories, I love tales. A very classic tale is the myth of Sisyphus. And is anybody, or I'll just tell it. So Sisyphus, again, is a Greek tale. Sisyphus was a king that managed to evade death 3 times. So Zeus, the king god of the Greeks, said, no, you need to be punished for this. You can't just evade death. You have to be punished. So Sisyphus, his punishment was to roll a boulder up a hill only to have the boulder roll back down. And he was cursed to do that for all of eternity. And even today, it blows my mind that the worst form of torture for a human being is work without meaning. Whenever we do something and there's no why behind it, there's no meaning, there's no fulfillment, it will tear us down. It'll eat away at our own inner being and just reduce us into a shell of ourselves. So our work is to help find meaning. Also for the students in here too, my words to you are to please follow your passion, follow your interests. Whenever they say to you, you can't do that, you shouldn't do that, right? The can'ts, the won'ts, the shouldn'ts, all the negative words, you don't have to listen to them. You can go on your own career journey. You can seek out what is interesting to you, because whenever we fulfill those needs and those interests as humans, that's how we grow. That's how we're able to go and help others out too. Our work as career professionals, that's exactly what we do with our clients, is we help them explore what they're interested in, and then how can that be applied to different areas. So for the students that are in attendance today, I'm so grateful to be able to be here with you. I loved being at the youth camp. It was amazing to see that excitement, that engagement of people connecting with each other and honestly forming some really amazing projects. Let me tell you, all the students had presentations, the student groups. I was impressed. There were some students that just walked right up to the very middle of the stage, looked everybody in the eye, blew me away. I was like, wow. They presented better than a lot of presentations I've been to at conferences. I mean, it was just so well done. So it's taking that inner passion, that inner spark, and choosing to pursue it. And that's what it is. Ultimately, it's a choice. We can choose to follow our passions, we can choose to follow what it is we're interested in, or we can also choose to listen to the people that don't want that for us. And to me, it's amazing. I work in a college, so a university in New Mexico, and I can't tell you, like, one of the joys of my work within career is actually talking people out of the major that they're majoring in. And what's really common is I will meet with a student, and dad was an engineer, brother was an engineer. What am I going to do? Well, I guess I'm going to go be an engineer. And so they major in engineering, and they can't pass the math. They're not interested in it. So what that does to a person mentally, you try, you fail, you try, you fail, you try, you fail. People can start to internalize that. It's like, oh no, I should be this, but I can't do it. It's just, my heart's not in it. So in working with these students, they don't want to be engineers. They want to be a mechanic or an electrician, which you don't need to go to college to do. There's certifications, there's programs. So part of the work too is really understanding that there are thousands and thousands of jobs still out there. Because for a lot of us, our world of work is only centered around what our parents do, what our family does. Like, we don't know the different opportunities that are out there. So for the youth that are here, keep that curiosity. Keep exploring. Keep seeing what are new jobs. Google it. Like, what are emerging job trends? Just kind of constantly, I like to call it being a student of career. You're constantly learning. For myself, I still consider myself a student. Because the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop growing. So my words for you today are, please, continue to learn, continue to grow, because when we grow as humans, that's our chance to help other people grow too. One of my favorite quotes is by Dr. Mark Sadekis, and the quote is, "We need each other to make sense of ourselves and the world in which we live in." That is the power of human connection, because we don't exist in a bubble. We don't exist in a vacuum. We need that connection. We need to talk to one another because we learn from people's stories. People's stories can inspire us, they can inform us, and then whenever we listen to another person, we're also validating their experience. We're saying, yes, you're a human. I see you, I understand you, and together we help each other grow. And I truly believe that there is power in unity. Right now in the world, there's so much decisiveness. There's a lot of propaganda, there's a lot of misinformation, but I believe all of that goes out the window whenever you sit in front of another person, whenever you get to know them. Whenever, for myself, I can come halfway across the world to Africa, to Egypt, to a country I've never been in, and I leave with friends. I leave with a new understanding of culture. And for me, I get to take this back to New Mexico. I get to take this back to NCDA and to share my experience, because it's you. Everybody in this room, that's why we're here. We're here for each other. The conference is wonderful because this unites us. It gives us a purpose, right? Why are we here? We're here for the conference. But it's about the connections. It's about the conversations that we have. For a lot of people that travel, they go to see the sights, right? All right, great. You get a tour, you get to go around. How much of an experience did you really have? You got to see stuff, but who did you talk to? Who did you meet? Why did you learn? What conversations did you have? For me, this right here, this is the most important part. It's talking to you, it's getting to know you, it's sharing that natural curiosity about who this other human being is in front of me. So with that, shukran. Thank you all so very much. And yeah, I want to extend an open invitation. So if any of you are curious about what is life like in New Mexico even, right? Or what's it like to be in America? I'm also here to help you understand too. So I don't take offense to questions. I like to think that people are just generally naturally curious. So I would like to extend that invitation. If you want to have a conversation about a different culture, I'm here for you too. Was there a question over here? Oh.
Before you leave, I need to answer the question you asked at first here. Sorry for being late, I was shy. the evolving of world. The main reason for evolving world is the woman. It is the woman, the girls.
You know what? And yeah, I was about to just because
The main reason of evolving of world is the woman. The woman, after the woman is being born and developing herself and focused, she's slower. She has the responsibility to open a whole home. لا انا مين؟
I'll repeat.
In this place, 70% are women. Are women and girls. Yeah, the woman is so mastery than the boy, than the man. She has the responsibility and she's have the trust in herself nowadays, not like a long time ago. Nowadays, the woman is full education. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So, what she was sharing is that the power of women, the power of women who work, the power of women who are educated, the makeup here is very similar to conferences in America where the majority of participants are women who want to learn, who want to grow, who want to empower, and also who maybe don't want to be assigned the traditional work roles, who want something more for themselves. And I'll be honest, I love women. I was raised by a single mom. So I saw the power of a woman who works and who loves her family and who is there for support. So I'm all for that. And thank you for sharing that too. Did anybody else have any questions?
بيسألكم حد عنده أي أسئلة؟
Once again, shukran. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you later on today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.